Welcome friends to a review on the 2025 Bentley Continental GTC Speed. This is of course the convertible version, and I've already done a full in-depth review on the Coupe Speed. So if you're interested, I will have a link to that in the description box below. But a special thank you to Bentley of High Point, North Carolina for allowing me to do this review. This is one of their dealer units, and if you are interested in purchasing this car, you may contact Chris Rivas. I will have his phone number on the screen and in the description box for you to contact. This is the first Bentley dealership in the United States, and they are able to ship nationwide. And funny enough, we are also checking out the first edition model of this GTC Continental. The first edition essentially bundles together all of the popular option packages on a Bentley vehicle. So we have here things like the name audio system, and I'll be talking more about that during the interior segment. But being that this is the all-new Speed, this V8 plug-in hybrid drivetrain, it is replacing the previously beloved W12 engine. As much as I like the W12, I have to say this plug-in hybrid V8, it is a big step up in performance and efficiency. Plus, I love the way Bentley tunes the sound of these twin-turbo V8 engines. But we have here 771 horsepower, 738 pounds-feet of torque, does 0 to 60 in 3.2 seconds, and the convertible has a top speed of 177 miles per hour. The coupe version has a top speed of 208 miles per hour. Being that this is a plug-in hybrid, this convertible, it can do 48 miles of pure EV range according to the EU testing cycle. But what I really want to check out is the handling of this convertible, because as you see it here, this car weighs 5,822 pounds. That's 390 pounds heavier than the coupe. And with that established, let's go ahead and let's get this vehicle out on the road and let's see how it performs. All right, starting this review off, I'm gonna have this vehicle in its comfort mode, just so we can see the ride quality on everyday roads. And no surprise, this car, it is soaking up all of the bumps flawlessly, even though we have here 22-inch wheels wrapped in 275 wide tires in the front and 315s in the back. A bit much considering the fact this vehicle is all-wheel drive, but hey, I'm not complaining. The grip with these new Bentleys is phenomenal. But more importantly, yes, the comfort mode allows this vehicle to simply glide over the bumps. The modes truly make a difference in these Bentley vehicles. But you know, with heavier vehicles like this, you know, if the suspension is not tuned properly, they'll tend to have like a crashing sensation over some of the bumps, but absolutely not the case here. I mentioned this in my coupe review, but these vehicles, they come with a lot of chassis and suspension technology. We have here the air suspension with the twin valve dampers, along with rear wheel steer. We have the ELSD, torque vectoring, and much more. So during your everyday drive, you do not have to worry about your ride quality. And with that established, now that we are about to turn onto some of these back roads, I'm gonna put this car into its sport mode. And immediately that V8 engine, it just roars to life. Yes, I love the W12, but this V8, it just sounds much better in my opinion. And I am doing this review with the top up just to preserve the audio. I'm not going to put my foot all the way to the floor because this is truly a dealership unit. So I'm only going to be going half throttle here. But with the coupe, that was actually a press car supplied by Bentley for testing purposes. So I was really able to put my foot down, and the acceleration, the thrust, it is just tremendous and quicker still than the W12, as one would expect, because these vehicles are producing nearly 800 horsepower, of course. So the straight line performance, that's not something you have to worry about at all. What really impresses me about this drivetrain is actually how seamless everything works here. Despite this being the first model year that this plug-in hybrid is being utilized, everything just works smoothly here. The way the V8 engine cuts on and off, it just works flawlessly. But yeah, just love that throaty, bassy tone that this V8 engine produces. The engine simply sounds good without it being overbearing. it never produces an obnoxious noise. It's always a smooth tone with the engine. But more importantly, the handling feels remarkably similar to the coupe. That's just incredible considering the fact this car weighs almost 400 pounds more than the coupe. So I think for a lot of people, it was the curb weight that was a bit of a concern for them compared to the W12, but I can assure you that's not a problem here. And really, you can attribute a lot of that to the rear wheel steer. I absolutely love vehicles that implement that because it just allows these cars to pivot around the turns. Yeah, you just point this vehicle into the corners and it responds incredibly well. And in the sport mode, you do notice that this vehicle tightens up a bit. In fact, the difference in the modes, it's a little bit more pronounced with the Continental models. I just did a review on the Flying Spur, the speed model at this dealership, 2025, and even in the sport mode, I didn't really notice the ride quality stiffening up that much more. I personally like the balanced B mode the most, but you know, that comfort is excellent. I just like the bandwidth in the suspension that the Continental models have to offer. And I have to say, with the top up, the convertible model, it's just as quiet as the coupe. I will, however, say that with the Continentals, you do get a bit of tire noise coming through. It's not a lot, of course, but just a bit. However, I don't really blame Bentley for that because they utilize these Pirelli tires, which they offer tremendous grip, but at the same time, they have to offer these tires because these cars, they do come with rather high top speeds, right? 177 miles an hour for this convertible and 208 for the coupe. Well, in order to achieve that manufacturer top speed, they do have to utilize a tire that can, of course, meet that top speed requirement, right? But honestly, if you're interested in these vehicles, you, the consumer, you can simply swap out these tires to like a Continental touring tire to give you an even more supple and quieter ride. The parts division at Bentley of High Point, they do sell tires as well. So that's something you can look into purchasing if you're interested. But yeah, overall, I mean, the refinement is excellent. You know, a lot of that can be attributed to the very thick double pane glass that Bentley utilizes with these cars. There's pretty much no wind noise with any of these new Bentleys. And I think the demeanor of this car is going to shock a lot of people. So typically with some of these higher curb weight vehicles, you'll notice that they kind of dig into the tarmac, but that's not really the case with any of these newer Bentleys. They actually have this hovercraft sensation during your daily drives. It simply floats over the bumps. The steering, no matter what mode you put it into, it is rather light, but not too light. It's right where it needs to be, in my opinion. But that's the overall sensation that you get. It is a rather easy vehicle to drive. No stress, no drama. That's what I appreciate here. And not to mention, you know, a lot of the rival vehicles for the new Continental, they're going to be pure rear-wheel drive machines. And if you're not used to these really powerful cars, that can be quite intimidating. Here, with this all-wheel drive Bentley, it is reliably putting down all of its near 800 horsepower. You just feel like a hero driving this because you can just get in here and have a blast on some back roads, especially in the sport mode with that V8 engine roaring to life. But being that this is a plug-in hybrid, it's got that duality nature to it. Put it into the comfort mode, operate this car with just the EV battery pack range, and you have this silent and tranquil driving experience. You know, companies like Rolls-Royce, they only focus in on the luxury, but here with the Bentley brand, I appreciate the athleticism that they also inject into these vehicles because that extra level of sportiness, it provides you with a ton of confidence as well. For a company like Rolls-Royce, they just focus in on the comfort, they slap on the quietest, most luxurious tires, and that can certainly impress customers that way. But here, I do like that sporty edge. And it's really up to you, the consumer. If you want an even more comfortable experience, you can, of course, swap out those tires, as mentioned before. But as you see it here, there's nothing wrong with the way this car drives. And more importantly, that twin-turbo V8 plug-in hybrid system, it just works seamlessly. So with that established, let's go ahead and let's transition into this interior segment now. Okay, now that we are stopped, let's quickly cover this interior space because this is identical to the coupe that I did a review on. First of all, these vehicles, they are simply made like a tank. The solidity of this cabin, it is excellent. And it is the layout of these interiors that I absolutely love the most. It is just so exquisite and just a feast for your eyes because of all of the high quality materials that they use, the best leather, the best stitching. Actually, for 2025, the 3D stitch work that you see on the door panels, that is all new. And it's all of these things that add character to the interior space, especially over generic luxury car brands. And when you step inside of these new Bentleys, you are greeted with one of the finest new car smells that you can possibly experience. So that's a great touch. One of my most favorite features is certainly the 12.3-inch infotainment screen, which is able to swivel and show you 3 different faces. And all new for 2025, they have given us wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. The screen responds quickly. I like the 360 camera and the full digital gauge cluster. That looks great. I like the black levels on it. Just nice, high quality, crisp screens that they're using here. I have to say the visibility with these cars, it's not bad despite this being the convertible. I figured that the B-pillar would be a bit more obtrusive, but it's really not. And the side mirrors do a great job as well. We also have various wellness features for the 2025 model year, like the air bladders inside of these seats to help reduce fatigue over long trips. But really the seat comfort alone is tremendous. One of the best that I've ever experienced. It's got a nice plushness to it. And once again, I'm loving the stitch work and the first edition on the headrest as well. Something to keep in mind compared to the coupe is you do lose out on some space, like with the front headroom, you lose about ½ an inch compared to the coupe. And with the rear seats, you do lose a few tenths of an inch regarding the rear legroom and headroom. Again, not a big deal. I just thought I would mention it. I mean, I'm 5'11" and I don't even have the seat all the way down, and I still have plenty of headroom here. The seat can go down even further. But of course, this is a recreational convertible vehicle. I'm assuming if you're interested in this, you already own several other vehicles, like a Bentayga perhaps. So the absolute practicality of this is not a big deal, but it is nice to note that even with the convertible top up, there is still a good amount of space here. And getting in and out, that's not bad either. The glove box is a good size. However, the center armrest is rather small, and that's also where they have placed the wireless phone charger. So that once again takes away additional space from the center armrest. But then again, you do have the rear seats in the back, which you can utilize as extra storage if you want. But speaking of storage, the trunk space is another area where you will definitely be compromising compared to the coupe. The coupe has a trunk size of 9.2 cubic feet. With the convertible, as you see it here, it is 4.7 cubic feet. Again, I understand that full-on practicality is not the purpose of a convertible, but just wanted to let you know if you're going to be traveling with this, the trunk is a bit constricted. Although, to be fair, there is a lot going on here with this vehicle. We have the plug-in hybrid battery packs, it's an all-wheel drive system, and a convertible. So overall, I would say that the packaging of the Continental is rather good considering everything that's going on here. And something else I forgot to mention during the drive is the weight distribution of these cars. It's near 50-50. It's 49% in the front, 51% in the back. That also allows these new Bentleys to just drive so neutral and planted out on the road. So all that coupled together with the chassis and suspension technology, yeah, it simply just masks that high curb weight from you. And since I went back to talking about the drive, I might as well talk about the 8-speed dual clutch transmission as well. It is snappy and really quick to respond. But anyway, enough of that. Let's get back to the interior space. We have here the Name audio system. Genuinely one of the best audio systems I have ever listened to in just about any car. I do like the Bang & Olufsen that Bentley has to offer, but the clean, crisp audio that you get from the Name is just next level. I like that bass line. I like the crystal clear vocals. One of my most favorite features of a new Bentley. Although I will say I'm not a big fan of the fact that Bentley offers 3 different audio systems. You have a bass, you have the Bang & Olufsen in the middle, and the Name at the top. Really, they should only be offering 2 audio systems at the most. But regardless, I will say this, even the bass audio system does have a nice tone to it. It's got a nice, warm, soothing tone. I really appreciate that. But yeah, the Bang & Olufsen and the name that you see here, these are the 2 audio systems that truly transcend even the flagship audio that you're going to find with the regular luxury brands. But with that established, let's go ahead and let's conclude. Concluding thoughts on the 2025 Continental GTC Speed. Well, as one would expect, the driving qualities are flawless, the straight line performance is great, and more importantly, everything here works seamlessly, and the handling around the turns, despite this vehicle weighing a little over 5,800 pounds, is impeccable. It handles and drives very similar to the coupe version, which is great praise, although I'm not completely surprised because I recently did a review on the 2025 Flying Spur Speed with this exact same V8 plug-in hybrid drivetrain, and it too weighs about the same as this convertible, and it handled and rode just fine. I would actually say that the Flying Spur is probably the quietest and most comfortable Bentley I've ever tested, although I'm really reaching here. All of these vehicles, they are very close. These are just some of the nuanced differences that I noticed driving these products back to back. And since we are talking about these nuanced changes, I might as well mention that with the Continentals, when you put these vehicles into their sport mode, that V8 engine sound is much more pronounced than in the Flying Spur and in the Bentayga. It's not a surprise, as these are the 2-door sportiest models in the lineup, but I am happy to mention that there are genuine differences here, and based on these subtleties, you the consumer, you can choose which vehicle is going to best suit your personality. But what are some of the cons with this vehicle? I mean, as you expect, at this price point, there's not really much to complain about, but there are the typical compromises that come with owning a convertible vehicle, like reduced trunk space. And I guess I could mention the convertible top, which takes 19 seconds for it to go up and down. That's a bit longer than some other soft top convertible vehicles, although you are able to put the top down while traveling up to 30 miles per hour in this Continental GTC. So that's a good thing, but perhaps this soft top takes a bit longer than other vehicles because maybe it weighs more, maybe it has more sound deadening materials inside. Who knows? That's just a theory, but again, not a big deal. And I did mention that in the driving segment that with the Continentals, you do get just a bit more tire noise than some of the other models. If you would like to personally reduce that, you can go ahead and swap the tires if you would like. Once again, I'm really reaching here when I say that. These cars are still absolutely silent, but if you just want to take things to the next level, really personalize this driving experience, a simple tire swap could achieve what you are looking for. Interior is absolutely stunning. I love the layout. I like the swiveling screen. The seat comfort is top tier. These cars are built like a tank when you sit inside of them, and the name audio system is simply phenomenal. Overall, I would say that this is an improvement over the previous W12 Continental. Although I absolutely love those vehicles, I have to admit the V8 plug-in hybrid, it is an upgrade in my personal opinion. But driving wise, the new models are very similar to the previous generation. They have the exact same demeanor out on the road. I would say that these newer generation Bentleys are just a smidge quieter than the previous gen, although once again, not by much. These are very subtle differences that I am expressing to you. This first edition Continental GTC Speed, which I reviewed at this dealership, stickers for around $393,000. The starting price of a GTC Speed is about $333,000, which is about 30 grand more than the starting price of the coupe speed models. But once again, a special thank you to Bentley of High Point, North Carolina for allowing me to do this review. If you are interested in this car or any other Bentley product, or if you even want to spec out a Bentley to your liking, this dealership is able to do that for you, and they are able to ship nationwide. So if you want to work with the first Bentley dealership in the United States, I will have Chris Rivas and his phone number on the screen and in the description box for you to contact. Chris Rivas also runs an exotic car rental business, both in Charlotte, North Carolina, and in Miami, Florida. So if you would like to rent Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Rolls-Royces, Bentleys, etc., then I will have Chris Rivas' exotic car rental business Instagram page linked in the description as well. If you found value with this review, make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you again for watching. Take care and goodbye.